Morning folks, how you doing? It's a wee bit before 7 o'clock in the morning. I was up at 5 and on the road, just a short drive this morning. I'm in the local hills. Carrying a fairly big pack, so I'm going to be out for a while. Got the camera with me, I'm going to take you with me on this hike. There's a wee ridge across to my right here. We're going to go up onto the ridge and then traverse the ridge, and then we'll just see what adventure unfolds for us. So let's go. Folks, that's my route laid out before me. It's not going to be very difficult to follow. Just down that long ridge, disappearing off into the distance there. There's a wee hill up here across to my right. I'm going to go out and go over the top of that, and then I'll come back down onto the ridge. Along the ridge, and then we'll see what the rest of the day has in store for us. It's actually quite cold when I set off this morning. I think it was about 5 degrees, but it's warmed up a wee bit now, so well, I've warmed up a bit. I don't know if the weather has. Carrying this up here. Let's get on with this job. Well, that's the first hill under my boots. Several more to go today. It's grand being out. Sorry about the road noise. I'm guessing the camera's picking it up. There's not very much I can do about that. It's not the wild hills that I prefer today, but it's just nice to be out. And these leaden grey skies are actually quite nice for hiking under. So maybe not the best for the camera, but it's nice and cool. Quite enjoying this fresh air. I should let you know where I am, folks. I'm in the Pentland Hills today. And I think this open corrie is one of the finest features of this wee range of hills. So I'm heading up onto the ridge and across the top and then onwards. We stop for a wee drink of water when we get up to the top, so let's go. Still haven't stopped for that drink of water yet, folks. That's a couple of hills I've come over. I'm doing this from memory. It's a long time since I looked at a map of the Pentland Hills, but I think the first hill that I came over was Turnhouse Hill, and then on to Carnethy with that funny wee cairn, and just out of shot on the left there is Scald Law, which is the highest point in the Pentlands, and then beyond that we've got East Kip. So I'm going to head up over Scald Law. The reason that I've got the camera at this particular angle is because there's quite a big scar on Scald Law. It's a popular hill and the footpath is pretty badly eroded, so trying to show you some of the beauty of Scotland. Hide a wee bit of the reality. So I'm going to get up over Scald Law, onto East Kip, and then the land will unfold. There's another couple of hills. We'll be able to see them once we get up there, but I think I will stop for a drink. I'm just going to go down a little bit and find a place to park myself for a wee while, for a wee rest. So let's go. summit of Scold Law, folks. So this is the highest point in my hike today, and it's the highest point in the Pentland Hills. Hey, I think it's coffee time, folks. I think I'll drop down over the shoulder there. It's a wee bit cold up here. There's a wee bit of a breeze. Get down and get a bit of shelter. Got a cup of coffee on the go. Let's go. A wee bit warmer down here, quite cold on the top. I've met 2 or 3 people on the ridge today, and I think everybody that I've met has said, I'm a wee bit more than 5 miles from home. We seem to live in a world where we're increasingly told what to do, and more pointedly what we're not allowed to do. I never discuss politics or philosophy in my channel. It's not a feature of any of my videos, but if you want a wee bit of philosophy from Dave Outdoors Scotland, my philosophy is that this is our time, and for all of us, time is finite. We're all in the same queue. Eventually we're all going the same place. So I think we need to spend a wee bit less time worrying about what we can and can't do, and just get on and live life. Make the best of the time that we've got. I think it's also worth remembering that the people that are telling us what to do and what not to do come from society. They're not a breed apart. They're just the same as you and me. Anyhow, such chat is taking me away from my coffee, which I'm desperate for, so let's lighten the mood and have a cup of coffee. I'm looking down into the glen there, and I'm going to do these 2 hills. That's East Kip and West Kip, but then I want to go on a little bit. Actually, sticking with the high ground is relatively easy in the Pentland Hills. There's these tracks that follow all the ridges. However, the further west I go, the tougher it is to get back this afternoon or this evening. And I have to cross quite a lot of boggy, tussocky, mossy ground. It's fairly dry underfoot just now, but the tussocks they're not easy going. I've got all day. Hey, a steep wee climb. That last summit that I came over was East Kip, and this is West Kip coming up here, so let's push on. Warmed up a wee bit, taking that layer off. It was quite cold on the top. It's a wee bit breezy up there. So I'm quite far west now, folks. I've got that camera zoomed a little bit, that's why I'm standing so far back and shouting at the microphone, so you can see the view. So that pointy hill there, that's where I've just come from, that's West Kip. And the wee pointy one that I did before that is East Kip, but it's out of view, it's hidden behind that. And then the next one, you might just about be able to see the track going up towards the summit. That's Scaldlaw, which is the highest point in the Pentland Hills. And then in the distance between West Kip and Scaldlaw, you might just be able to make out a wee summit in the sunshine. That's Carnethy Hill, so that was the second hill of today's march. So I'm still feeling okay. I'm carrying a wee bit of weight today, but I'm feeling good and I'm heading west. So let me spin this camera around, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to dredge the grey matter and see if I can come up with a name of that hill over your shoulder there. So let me turn this camera around and you'll see where we're going. So that's where we're heading there, and I think it's called Spittle Hill. I think. Might be good to take a look at the map, but I've actually walked off the map, so anyway, I'm in pretty familiar territory. I might not be able to remember the names, but I know where I am and I'm not going to get lost, so don't worry folks. I won't get you lost. So we're going to go out onto the summit of that little grassy hill, and then I'm going to continue west. I'm going to drop down, and I have a hankering after doing one of these more distant hills. Am I out of frame there? I've got a hankering after going a little bit further west. It is now 1 o'clock. I haven't had any lunch yet, although I did stop for a late coffee break this morning, so I think I'll either stop for lunch very soon, maybe down in the dip there, or perhaps on the top. I'll just see how the march is going. Belly's rumbling a wee bit. And after lunch, we'll see how much energy we've got. I've got a long way to go back. Let's go. I actually crossed the top and dropped down the other side, and there's a wee subsidiary top away to the right there, but it's definitely lunchtime. So I'm going to make myself comfortable here, have a bite to eat. I'm going to change my socks. I've been walking on this pair of socks for quite a long time. And then after lunch I'm going to go out and do that top, but then I'm heading over there, and I think that is probably as far west as I'm going to go. I haven't actually measured it out on the map, but it's at least 20 kilometres out, so it's going to be the same back. Funnily enough. Maybe even a wee bit more actually. So once I drop down there, there's a wee hill that I'm interested in. I'll see what the legs are like. We might go on and do it as well. It is now 1:30. It took me just half an hour to get up over that first top. It'll only take me 15 minutes to get out to this outlying top here. But I'm going to sit here for a good long time, so we'll call it maybe 2:15 or something like that when I've got that other top in the bag, which gives me, yeah, probably a good 8 hours of daylight. I'm not going to run out of daylight. I'm going to run out of energy before I run out of daylight, folks. Right. Let me get this food on the go. I've got a wee bit of hot water left in this flask. If I was being smart, I would save it for tonight and have a cup of coffee on the way back for a wee pick-me-up, but coming up over that last hill I was looking forward to a wee cup of coffee, so I'm going to have it now. There's half a cup left maybe. The usual, folks, peanut butter and jelly. Well, that was a nice bit of lunch, folks. Excuse me, licking my lips. I had to put my jacket on, it was getting a wee bit cold there. This is an old Paramo jacket that I've got. It combines as a sort of wind layer, a little bit of a thermal layer and a waterproof layer, so it's just one jacket does all really. So I had my sandwich, had some fruit, I actually had some olives as well. Now I need to change these socks. Get back on with this journey that we're embarked on. Although it's cold, the sun is quite bright. I might need to put on sunscreen. My hands are a bit sticky with peanut butter and jelly and olive oil. It's going to be a strange combination that's going on to my face. That's my last hill, folks, across the water. Let me show you why this rucksack has been so big and bulky all day. I've got my pack raft with me so I can paddle across here. That was a big descent coming down from that last hill. And I've got a fair bit of reascent to get out of here. So I'm going to paddle across here, and then I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the camera away for a wee while. And I'm going to scoot up and do that hill and make tracks east a little bit. It's after 3 o'clock, so I've still got about 7 hours of daylight left. The big question is, do I have 7 hours in the legs? So I'm going to get across there. I'm not going to film too much. I'll film a wee bit of the paddling and then I'm going to head back, and I'm hoping that I've got enough time left to get the boat out again and do a wee bit more paddling and a wee bit more filming. So let me spin that camera around and you'll see the boat. You've seen it before. Sorry about the midges buzzing around the lens there. Okay, let's get this boat inflated. So you've seen this before in some of my other videos. Unless you're new to the channel and then you have to go back and check some of the older videos. I have picked up a few new subscribers recently, so welcome to the channel, folks. Thanks for subscribing. Very much appreciated. So it takes about a dozen of these bagfuls of air to fill up the boat. About 5 minutes, but it's not the most compelling viewing for YouTube, so I'll cut it short. So that's the boat set up. Just need to get this paddle put together. I modified this paddle. It had an offset on it, which is probably fine for kayaking, but it wasn't any good for the pack raft. So now it's a wee bit trickier to put together. I've got to try and get the right combination of holes for the retainers. That looks good. I think that'll do me. That's a westerly wind that's blowing now, folks. I hope it continues. Can you hear it slapping the bottom of the boat? Well, it was looking like I was going to be paddling into the wind this evening if I decide to put the boat back in the water, because there's a reservoir that I can use to take the weight off my feet for a wee while. But it had the makings of quite a tough paddle because I was going to be paddling straight into the wind. But the wind has turned. Is that too good to be true? There's a wee island on the left there, some birds on it, and there's a coot just gone under the water in front of the boat there. hasn't been a big paddle. I need to find a place to get out, and then I've got quite a lot of hiking to do, so there's no way that I can just carry the boat. I'm going to have to take the air out of it. I'm not complaining. Grand to be back out again. Right, I can't get out here. I'm in the weeds. Let's go up a little bit. Right folks, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I need to put on a little bit more sunscreen. I need to get out of the water and get this boat deflated. So I'm going to put the camera away for a little while. We're spinning round, so you're going to see where I'm going. You see that over my shoulder? We're going up there, so I'm going to go and do that. Oh, a clegg. I'm going to go and do that, and then I'm going to march on and make up a little bit of time and distance, and then I'll put the camera back on. So I'm not finishing the video here by any means. We've got a lot to do yet. I just need to make up a wee bit of time. Maybe have a wee bit of me time as well. So I'll get back to you in a wee while, folks. Well folks, that's the hills done, but I'm a very long way from my start point, and I'm going to try and wind my way back through the hills using the drainages. So I'm going to follow this burn for a wee while until it peters out at the watershed, and then I'm going to cross the watershed and pick up another burn which will flow in a northeasterly direction, and so now I'm kind of heading more or less due north. I've got to veer off to the right, so I've got to be careful because this drainage divides. I've got to be careful that I don't go away to the left, and I want to try and avoid using the high ground, so follow this drainage. It's a wee bit more complicated than you might think when you're down here in the glen and you can't see any long views. All the big views are behind me now, so anyhow, we're not complaining. That's about the third time I've said that today. Happy to be out. So I'm going to get up this wee glen, and then I've got my compass here, so I'll take a compass bearing when I get a little bit further up. There's no way I can get lost just now because I'm in this tight glen, but once it opens up I have to be a wee bit more careful. So let's go. Time is wearing on a wee bit. I've done what I said I wasn't planning on doing. So that there is the summit of my second last hill, the one that I called Spittle Hill, if you remember that, this afternoon. And I went right along the ridge and did the outlying top, which is in behind you there, and then I dropped down to the reservoir and then up and did that top there, and then came back down, and I was following this drainage here that's on the left. But it was quite tortuous down there, and I was backwards and forwards across the wee burn. So I decided to do an ascending traverse. I hope you can hear me all right. I see the microphone blowing hard in the wind. So I'm going to try and contour here. I'm going to try and maintain this height. The watershed is just over that ridge there, about 1.5 kilometres away, and then I've got it's quite wide, so I've got about 1 kilometre of watershed to cross once I get to it, and then it's tussocky on the descent. After that I'll pick up a track. Let's keep going. Just checking in with you again, folks. Not the most exciting camera angles that I'm using, but I'm wanting to make a bit of distance, so I'm marching quite fast. The watershed is still a ways away, but it's not that far, and I can see Black Hill. I might come over and zoom that in for you. The dark hill with a distinct Land Rover track on it. So good to get my bearings again. A shout out to Mark. Mark, do you remember we did a hike up and over Black Hill last year, was it? Or was it the year before? Relatively recently, so hope you're doing good, Mark. I'm going to come round and zoom that for you so you can see what I'm talking about, folks. So the hill in the distance there with the Land Rover track. It's not very visible on this wee screen, but when I upload it, it might make sense. And if it doesn't, I'll just edit all this out. Right, switch this camera off and get moving again. So that's where I've come from, that distant hill there. That was the end point of my walk, or the most distant point of my walk. I can't tell you what it's called because I don't have a map. My map, I do actually have a map with me, but it stops over there someplace. So all this western end I've done just by memory and by looking at distant views. So don't judge me, folks. I'm not going to get lost, I promise. Lovely listening to the bird song. Anyhow, a long way to go. I've just done half a dozen kilometres of trackless terrain and I've reached a beautiful track. But I'm going that way, the track goes that way and that way, so I've got 3 steps to enjoy. Just walk about on it for a wee while. I've got some tough terrain to cross yet. It's getting around dinner time, 5:30. But I wouldn't mind getting some of that tough terrain under my boots first and then stopping and having something to eat. I think we'll go on. I've got a long way to go yet, but This stone looks such a comfy seat. Oy, 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 oy. I think I'm going to have my dinner here. This is these lightweight hill walking tins. I got a tin of peaches with me. I didn't manage the shopping before I headed out. Got some olives. And I've got a Scotch egg and a sandwich. Essentially just the remnants of the food that was left from last week's shop. So let me tuck in and I'll get back to you in a wee while, folks. So there we are, folks. Had my dinner, a wee freshen up. A bit after 6 o'clock now, so I'm going to get packed up and I'm going to get across this tussocky terrain and hopefully at some point pick up a track. Let's get moving. Well, I can see my distal point is a way in the distance, so I've done, oh goodness knows, because I don't have the map with me, it's difficult to say exactly. It feels like about between 8 and say 10 kilometres of this tussocky trackless terrain, and where I'm heading is at the bottom end of that drainage that is just visible there. And here's my dilemma. Do I continue with the high ground and then drop down, or do I peel off to the left there and see if there's a track running alongside the burn? I'm standing here as if I'm waiting on you giving me an answer. I guess I'm going to have to decide myself. Oh, let's stumble on a bit and we'll see what unfolds. Hey, we're making progress now. There's the reservoir. I've just got to get down there. There's a crag here I need to go round, so the hard work is not done yet. water level's quite low, but there's enough for my boat. I'm done with walking. It's nearly 8 o'clock. I've been walking for close to 14 hours. It's a long walk. Oh yeah. So I'm going to pop the boat in the water for the last hour. A gentle paddle down there. There's actually a wee bit of a breeze in the wrong direction, but there's absolutely nothing to trouble me. Right folks, I'm going to put that camera away in a dry bag and I'm just going to film from the boat. Truth be told, I'm quite weary. I've been out for a long time, so I was kind of looking forward to getting some evening footage for you. Quite tired. Or should I just suck it up and do it? What about I do a wee bit paddling for you? Not the best camera angle folks, you've got the sun in your eyes. Quite tired. You know, sometimes a pain fest is just exactly what you need. Put the worlds to rights. You know what I'm going to do? It's a pity. I'm going to go out of the sun to stop you getting blinded. I'll get across here into a bit of shadow. Then I can have a wee chat to you as I'm paddling down the reservoir, down the loch. I only have to go quite far across. I'm going to get some shadow. There we are. A wee bit shade. Oh, a fish jumped just in front of the boat there. Aye, aye, aye. So what were we chatting about? I was philosophising earlier saying that this is our time and we have to spend it wisely. What is it they say? Time is precious, waste it carefully. So we do seem to have been suffering a lot recently from people telling us what to do and what not to do. So I hope it's not had too profound an effect on you. The world is a wonderful place. Well, it's not the best camera angle in the world, folks, but you can see where you're going now. I've got the tripod clenched between my boots, try and keep it stable. The great thing about this particular camera angle is that I can chunter away to you, and then when I review the footage, once I've cut it all into a video for you, if it's absolutely terrible, I can just take it all out and put a wee soundtrack over it. I'm not putting much effort into this paddling. Hey. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. I've got you zoomed in a wee bit, but there's a breakwater coming up, and that's the safest place to get out. There's a load of herons. They're sort of equally spaced down the side of the water, like sentinels. They don't seem to be overly bothered. I'm going to go a little bit closer and see. Oh, it's going to move. I wanted to see if I could. Ah, it's away. I'll turn you around so you can see it flying. You see it? No, I can't see it. What is it doing? Is it completely out of shot? Where did it go? It's about the third or fourth one that I passed. All the other ones just sat there. Anyhow, I can see exactly where I want to be. I have no idea how to get there. There's no beach to get out. When I pull the boat out of the water, I can't be more than about 2 kilometres from the car. So if I have to get wet feet, it's not going to matter. I could just lie back and go to sleep here. Right, what am I going to do? Might have to switch the camera off for this bit. Don't want you to witness me falling into the water. Right at the edge, and it's it's pretty deep. It's not over the head deep, but it's over the boots deep. Ah, it doesn't look too bad here. Can I get out here? I also need a place to let the air... Oh, that didn't sound so good, eh? I need a place to let the air out of the boat. I'm not liking the look of all that gorse there. I'll let the air out for me. It feels a wee bit like there's a tow on this water. I wonder if they're letting water out. Hey, hey, where am I going? I'm looking for a big flat rock where I can jump across. What about here? It's possible. I pull up onto these rocks gently. I don't rip the bottom out of my boat. Can you hear that? Right, I'm going to turn the camera off, folks. I'll get back to you in a minute. Right folks, I'm going to wind the video up here. Hope you enjoyed this adventure. I've just got to get the air out of the boat and I'm going to get everything into the rucksack, get it shouldered, and my car's about 2 kilometres down a wee road actually, and there'll be a few people about, I guess, on a lovely evening like this. But I need to crack on because the midges have found me. I've got a midge jacket in there, so I think I might have to put that on. So I'm going to get packed up and get away home, and I hope that it's not going to be too long before I get back to you with another video and another wee adventure that we can share. So thanks for joining me folks, very much appreciated. Stay safe. Bye for now.